Lakehurst, New Jersey, May 6, 1937. It is raining, and 800 feet of silver are coming down through the evening sky. The largest flying machine ever built, a hotel with a dining room, a smoking lounge, a promenade with slanted windows, hanging under 200,000 cubic meters of hydrogen. Machines like this one have carried paying passengers for 27 years, without a single one of them ever coming to harm. On the ground, the landing crew reaches for the ropes. Everything you just heard, the record, the routine, the whole idea, has 32 seconds left. Eight years earlier, this ship's older sister, smaller and already a legend, had done something no machine, no ship, no aeroplane had ever done. In August 1929, she left New Jersey, crossed Germany, then Siberia, and then did the thing nobody had ever done before her. The entire Pacific, Tokyo to Los Angeles, in a single unbroken flight. 21 days after leaving Lakehurst, she closed her circle around the world. In Tokyo, 250,000 people stood in the streets to watch her arrive. In New York, they threw her a ticker tape parade. And here is what mattered more than the records. It wasn't a stunt, it became a schedule. Through the 1930s, these ships flew a regular line across the South Atlantic, Frankfurt to Rio, faster than any ocean liner and infinitely smoother than any aeroplane of the day. No seasickness, no roaring cabin. You walked, you dined, you watched the world slide past beneath your window. Tens of thousands of passengers flew the great airships. Not one of them was ever hurt. To understand what happens tonight, you have to open the machine. Inside the skin, a skeleton of aluminium girders. Inside the skeleton, 16 enormous cells holding the gas that carries everything. Hydrogen. The lightest element there is, the strongest lift you can buy, cheap to make anywhere. And it burns. Everyone knew it burned. That is the point. This was never ignorance. It was a managed risk, managed with almost religious care. The smoking lounge was a pressurized room behind an airlock with a single electric lighter, the only one allowed on board. The crew climbed the frame in felt-soled boots, in overalls without a single metal button, nothing that could strike a spark. For 27 years, the procedures beat the physics, every single day. In the alternative, there was a gas that cannot burn: helium. In 1937, exactly one country on Earth had it in quantity, the United States, and by law, it would not sell. This ship had even been designed with helium in mind. When the embargo held, the designers went back to what they had mastered for a generation. So for this program, the choice was never hydrogen or helium. It was hydrogen or no transatlantic airship service at all. And for a nation that had staked its pride on these silver giants, no service was not on the table. That is the assumption this whole age rests on, and in 1936, it looks perfectly reasonable. A risk you have managed for 27 years is a risk you have solved. May 6th, 1937. The ship is half a day late. Thunderstorms have been circling the field all afternoon. Now there is a gap in the weather and a tight schedule to keep. Passengers to unload, mail to load, a return flight already booked full. The landing lines drop into wet sand, and through the soaked ropes, 800 feet of steel skeleton are suddenly connected to the ground. Beyond the fence, a Princeton professor watching the landing will later swear he saw a faint blue flicker dance along the ship's back. Sailors call it St. Elmo's fire. The air, still charged from a day of thunderstorms, is looking for somewhere to go. At 7:25 above the tail fin, a flower of flame opens. 32 seconds. That is all it takes for the largest flying machine ever built to fold onto the wet sand as a glowing skeleton. A radio reporter named Herbert Morrison is there to describe a routine landing. His breaking voice, recorded as it happens, becomes the sound the whole world will attach to these 32 seconds.
and keep it from the first and the flank. Get it started. It's fighting, and it's rising. It's rising terrible. Oh my, get out of the way, please. It's burning and bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring pads. No, the folks...
36 people die that evening. And here is the number history keeps forgetting. 62 come out of that fire alive. The ship falls slowly enough, and her crew holds her level long enough that 2 out of every 3 on board survive. So what made the spark? 89 years later, it is still argued. A static discharge into leaking hydrogen is the leading answer. A snapped bracing wire, slicing open a cell during the sharp final turn, is another. The theory that the painted skin itself was the fuel returns every decade. And every decade, the evidence beats it back. But whichever spark it was, the spark is not the explanation. The world is full of sparks. You cannot fence them all out forever. The explanation is 200,000 cubic meters of a gas that wants to burn, and an assumption that it held for 27 years, that a risk you have managed is a risk you have solved. Every safe mile had made the next mile feel safer. That isn't engineering. That is the arithmetic of trust, and it compounds in the wrong direction. That night, her older sister, the ship that had circled the world, was over the Atlantic, homeward bound. Her captain was handed the news mid-ocean and chose not to tell the passengers until they landed. She never carried a paying passenger again. Understand what did and did not fail here. These machines had not forgotten how to fly. The old ship over the Atlantic that night was the proof, steady as ever. What failed was trust, and it failed on film. Within days, those 32 seconds were playing in every cinema on Earth. The first machine catastrophe of the newsreel age, on repeat, forever. That is the law this machine discovered for every machine that came after it, from reactors to rockets to the systems in your pocket. It is not enough to be safe. You must never be seen to fail. One filmed half-minute can outweigh 1,000,000 quiet miles. The age of the airship did not end because the giants could not fly. It ended because once, for 32 seconds, the whole world watched.